You got to see what these are. They look like little clips. And then I've got the little wheels as well. So just a super chill Saturday. I've been putting off getting this office ready for too long. Thanks, bro. I found this like sunset like lamp, this like small little thing here, and it changes colors too. See? So it changes a bunch of different colors the further you have it away. I've been thinking about doing like a kind of like my own headshots with this kind of in the back. So I don't know. I've been playing around with it. I have like a backdrop too that I have to set up so I can keep it kind of maybe like over here. So I've got like all this space in this room. I might set it up in front of this right here. But I want to get this whiteboard set up. Ooh. I don't know what this is. But I want to get that set up so that way I can have all my little ideas for work, and whenever I'm making videos, I can use the whiteboard as a cool little part of the videos because I want to do more like home office stuff. So let me actually push this back a little bit. I'm on the Action 6 right now as the webcam too. Let me know how that looks. Yeah, this is my home office right now. It's honestly, it's super bare. I've got like another little room, but I've got the webcam hooked up, but I've got this like room in the back that it could be like storage or like another closet, but it looks like it could be like a cool little studio space or like a podcast room. I should look over here because I've got the monitor over there. But yeah, this is going to be my office. So I've got my little couch that I picked up right here. Nice window. And my Funkos, books, a bunch of pictures over here that I'm going to hang up. But yeah, so it's pretty much my little space. And then I'm just trying to make it feel like, I don't think I'm going to go all decked out or anything like that. I'll definitely paint it over time, but I'm just trying to make it feel like a space I want to be in when I'm home, because I've been doing a lot of my editing literally like at the kitchen table or in the, let me lower this a little bit, or in the room when I'm getting ready to go to bed. So I've been wanting to like get this space. So I got the couch. I finally got that set up. Now I'm getting this little whiteboard. So that way I can have a plug and play option here too. So that's going to help me out a lot. Yeah, making it super cozy, man. That's the whole vibe I want to go for. I feel like throughout our whole house, like it's just really comfort and cozy, but I want to make this a little bit more like my space. So yeah, we just been cleaning out today, doing a little bit of spring cleaning. And then I was like, you know what? Now that I'm in the vibe, now that I'm in the mood, I should get this going. So I'm just trying to set the mood, you know? I don't know what my vibe is yet, but I'm trying to find it. So we've got the whiteboard. So this is let me see. I don't know if they give a picture here, but this is what I got on Amazon, mobile whiteboard, and it is pretty narrow too, so it's actually perfect size. It's not huge. I don't have to hang it up on the wall or anything like that, so it's going to have the wheels and be pretty mobile. So you can actually see right here how narrow it is, and then the stand and then the wheels. So that's what we're setting up. That's what the live is going to be about, unless you guys have any questions. I've got the Action 6 going right now as the webcam. Got my little Nano right here. I'm not recording any of this for a vlog, but got my Nano always in hand. comes out of experience. Like we experiment and create, and it kind of creates it. Yeah, definitely. And you know what? You're so right about that, because the biggest thing that I don't do enough of is that I don't do enough of like letting it come to me. I'm always like seeing ideas and seeing how like other people do it, and I never allow myself the time and like the creativity in that sense to just kind of let the vibe set itself. So I'm just kind of going with it. I'm not adding a bunch of crazy stuff, but I'm adding the things that I like. You know, even like with the pictures and everything, I kind of have an idea of how I want to like hang them up. But I'm just thinking like over time, I'll probably paint this space a little bit. But for now, like it's chill. I've got this cool little couch here. I've got my little desk. I've got a Husky workbench in there that I'll probably pull out at some point. But this is my vibe. Like this is kind of, you know, I don't know. We'll see what it ends up being, but this is kind of what I'm going for. I want to allow myself that, like you're saying, that time to do that and let it really just happen. Yesterday, though, out the big cameras, I did a brand like video shoot, helping out one of the owners at my gym, and we're gonna put together some reels for him. I'm actually editing them in Davinci Resolve, so I've got like 2 vlogs of my own that I need to edit, and then these videos for him. But I'm excited to do that, so it's a chance to start kind of like building up that little side business, that little side gig, and use my full frame cameras. So I used the Sony a7S III yesterday. I got to go back and do photos, and then I'll use my a7 IV for that. But I also did get some clips on the Action 6, and I did it on the 1.1 custom mode, 4K, because it doesn't let you do it in 8K. But the Action 6, man, it looked great for those videos. So if you want to do content for businesses, I feel like the Action 6 is the perfect tool, man. Like you don't really need a whole full frame camera anymore, to be honest. Like you really don't. But I did it because I have them, and I bought them and they kind of started to collect dust because I never really used them much, and I started feeling bad. So I was like, I got to use these cameras. Yeah, I mean, the Action 6, like you put it on with the macro lens, and man, I've got some cool clips that I took yesterday. Nano too. The Nano is actually perfect. I was going to use it for B-roll, but I was a little nervous because I was like, okay, I've got to do this like pro work, and I want to make sure I'm like, I had to literally watch videos again to like relearn how to set up my Sony a7S III. That's how much like when you don't use something, you forget like how to use it. So I spent more time trying to just focus on that. But Action 6, because I was recording audio through the Mic 3, which I'm wearing right now. So you know what, that audio actually sounds good too. But the Nano can definitely be used for pro or any of these cameras, man. I mean, you use them right, you set the settings right, you should D-Log M, like it's perfect. All right, let's see what we're working with here. So we've got the whiteboard, and let me see. I like putting there. It's kind of one of those things that like soothe me as well. Cool, awesome. Audio sounds good. Yeah, the Mic 3, dude, I actually really like it a lot. That's the other thing I got to do. I got to watch. I'm like always watching videos on like how to learn to do something like the day of. So I don't know if I'm just good at watching things and picking them up, or I need to just do it more often. All right, so we got the back, got the wheels, all that stuff. Okay, cool. So step 1, we're gonna put the wheels in. All right. Let's see. This looks pretty straightforward. So this is, again, directions. Oh man, so I love putting things together, but the only thing is that I just want to like use it already. So I'm so glad this is not going to be crazy. Got our little wrench here. We got the wheels. These are what the wheels look like. Yeah. And this is all carpet too, so I'm not going to be really moving this thing around too much. But that's the wheel. If you guys have not heard of Rainbow Kitten Surprise, they're a freaking amazing band that I discovered, I think, towards the end of last year, and I just like can't stop listening to them. They were just in Chicago too, playing at the Salt Shed, and I didn't go, but they also have one in Boston, show coming up, I think. But such a good band. All right. Oh, you guys can still see me here. Yeah, so the pro work went good. I did a couple videos. So the CrossFit gym I go to, the owner is this lady who owns the CrossFit space, and then her son opened up the back part, which is now the bodybuilding and kind of like a little boutique gym space, and it's called The Box. So he is doing personal training, and then also you can get memberships to The Box as well too if you're in the Chicagoland area, you know, the south suburbs of Chicago. So he's doing his marketing, and I've done, you know, I've kind of like cut my teeth around like learning how to do photography and video at the gym, like just them being awesome enough to let me run around with my camera or my cameras all the time. So over the last couple of years, you know, just kind of getting better and better at, you know, taking photos, and I'm still learning. I'm not going to say I've got it all figured out, but he asked me to come back and do that, and it went really good, man. It honestly helps because it's the directing part that I actually really enjoy. I love directing. I feel like if I could walk away and do anything as a career, walking away from corporate America, like directing would be the thing I would do. I would want to get into. I feel like I feel naturally good at it. That's why I'm like teaching myself how to do all the DP stuff and work with the cameras and everything, because then I can know how to like speak the language of other people. So like if I ever work on a set, you know, which I've made a short film with, you know, friends and family back in the day, which was really cool. Back in like 2017, we made like a 40-minute feature film. And it's called The Day After Halloween, and it's on YouTube. And it was a fun time, and I learned a lot, and that's where I really realized, like, yeah, I like writing. I like, you know, working with the camera, but I love directing. Like I see these scenes in my head and I'm like, oh, that's just what I want to do all day. So hopefully one day, maybe all this will pay off, you know, doing all these vlogs and learning all these things. I'm gonna check the comments in a second, but yeah, man, it's definitely something I want to do more and more of, is that directing. And I think like now, like, you know, even little things like this, like hooking up this little whiteboard is like going to help me put my ideas down and have them like in front of me, maybe even talk about them in videos, things like that. So I'm trying to like almost do this thing where I'm like living these things out at the same time as like manifesting them too. I don't know if I believe in like manifestation in the sense of like just that, right? But I believe like if you set yourself up and put yourself in situations where you can have opportunities, like things are gonna come through. And I think everybody is gonna get like that opportunity. It's like whether you jump for it or take it at the time that it comes, right? I think it's really all about timing, but you gotta show up. You gotta put the work in to kind of get to those points too. So that's what I'm doing. Even though I have my regular 9-to-5 job, like I'm not stopping making videos. I'm not stopping creating. I'm not stopping showing up, because the moment I stop, then it'll be harder to get started again. Are you moving towards making content creation your full-time gig? I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet with full-time as far as content creation. I think if I really wanted to, I think I could really move toward like making content for other people. Absolutely. And I think that I could build that kind of business up. For myself, I don't know yet because I still feel like I'm learning myself. Like I'm still figuring out how I show up here on YouTube, how I show up in the world, like how you guys view me. You know what I mean? Like what value I bring. Like, I don't know. So that's a great question, man. Let me know. Like when you watch my videos, what do you feel like you get out of them? I always feel like I got to ask other people their opinion because it's always, you know, that thing where you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, shoot, like, am I doing good? You feel that imposter syndrome. But I feel like I make pretty good content. And I feel like if I had time to do it more and more full time, like, I really believe I could make some great stuff. So I would probably put that question back to like the people who show up for me and support me. Like, what do you guys feel like, you know, when you watch my videos, what do you watch them for? Like, do you like watching them because it's me? Do you like watching them because of the information? Both, like things like that. So I don't know. I feel like I'd have to do like a survey or something, or do more lives and ask ask you guys. But I would love to, man. I would love to do this stuff all day. I feel like with work, I kind of get to do a little bit of it more and more, which is awesome and fortunate that like in my work, I can do that. Like I can create content. But I still like, I write, so I work in advertising and I do strategy, and I write creative briefs. So anything like we're working on for ads or commercials or campaigns or events, like I write the creative brief, I do all the research and all that stuff. And then I give it to the creatives who make it. But I get to go out and like do research with my video cameras and things like that. So it's definitely, I'm definitely able to like start mixing my worlds together, which I feel like is a whole new space for me to play in, especially this year. Random activity, sense of humor, encouragement, mixed with some technical. Yeah. So like, I feel like that's the thing is like, I try to like not come across as like, I know everything about the camera, but more of like the guy who is, I try to come across as the guy who like is learning through the process with you. So like, if you're not ready to start, you watch me fail or learn and you feel more comfortable. So I kind of want to be that like middleman almost in it. Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like those videos that I make in that way are the videos that I want to see, right? Like when I watch people like you or Chris or Luis, you guys are making videos that I want to see. And those are the types of videos that I want to make, and make them, you know, with my personality, and show people kind of like, you know, a different way to do it. So not everybody will watch, you know, not everybody might find Chris or Luis or you or anybody else who's making videos about these cameras, but they might find me, and then they might be introduced to you guys through that. So that's what I really enjoy about it. So I got to take 10, 9, and 8. 10, 9, and 8. Where's that screw at? Did I get a screw? I don't remember seeing a freaking screw here. It says I need to take a screw with 10, 9, and 8. Okay, the spanner's right there. I do not see a screw, so I might be screwed. Unless I threw it back over here. I do not see it. Oh, you know what? It's right here. I think. Yeah. It's already in here. So that is it. So I'm putting this together. Come on. Okay. Yeah, thanks. With my vids, the pattern seems to be using gear as the main lore, but then inject my personality and lifestyle into and give it. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Honestly, you have to, and I always answer the question of like, how do I make this genuinely helpful and entertaining? That's exactly it. Like, I think that is the way to play. You know, I know people say YouTube is like, you got to play the game. You got to play the game with the algorithm, all that stuff. But that's the way to do it. You have to show what people want to like, right? It's like a directory. It's like Google. Like people are going onto YouTube because they want to learn about something. They want to learn things and they want to find like-minded people that they can learn from. So I think that's exactly the way to play it, to be honest. Okay, so this goes into here. Okay. And this screw goes in here. But yeah, you gotta play the game with YouTube, you know? You gotta show people that you're giving them what they want, because they want to know about the Nano. They want to know about the Action 6. They want to know about how to put together a whiteboard. You know what I mean? Like the people are going to buy the same things eventually, and they're going to want to see somebody else do it. Like for me, usually sometimes if I'm not following directions on something, I am looking up on YouTube how to do it. And then I am trying to find people who I can relate to, people who I'm like, okay, I can listen to this guy talk about this camera for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So I always try to answer the question of like, how do I make this genuinely helpful and entertaining for other people, not just my dumb self? Yeah, I mean, do you go back and watch your videos at all of like yourself? I feel like the key to it too is if you could go back and watch your videos of yourself and not feel like, oh, this is slow or boring or whatever it is, then you're doing something right. Because if you can hold your own audience, I think that's important too. There's plenty of videos where I'm like, geez, like, okay, a lot of my earlier ones, I'm like, dude, what are you getting at? What are you saying? What do you know? So I think that's the thing that every time I make a video, I just try to get better at as I go on. All right, so now got this little spring. Okay. Okay, 3 and 7. We're in there. Now we got to take 13. 13 is this little lower column here. 13 goes on to 1. Okay. And then 12 are those little clips. And then the back goes in. Okay, this is coming together really quick. Let's do this. This is the lower column. So I guess this is where the markers will pretty much be set. I learned to get to the point. Yes, we all, I think, have to get through that problem, right? Because we all, when we start, have so much to say Like, I remember my first video when I was just like, all right, I'm just going to do this vlog. I had so much to freaking say, dude. Like, it was crazy. And I just kept going and going and going. And it was like, I'm just like being kind of like emotional in it and whatever it may be. But it was funny because I'm like, bro, like, get to the freaking point. And I feel like I still struggle with that here and there because I'm still learning how to, like, a lot of what I do, I talk on the fly. So I'm still learning that part. Let me see how they got these clipped. Okay. Like this. Okay, cool. And then I don't know if you're still on, Ben, but you're in Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas. I've never been to Austin. I've been to Dallas, Fort Worth. Where have I been? Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston. I've never been to Austin. That's definitely a trip I need to take. Okay, we're getting close. Now this goes on. Right there. How's that looking? Put that in there. And then the last part right here. There we go. Down a little bit. All right, we're done. Check that out. So now, if I make some videos, I've got my little whiteboard. All right. I'm going to put these little magnets on. It's cool that they come with markers and magnets and stuff. So, boom, boom, boom. So now today's lesson is how to do the nano settings. Do it like a true whiteboard experience. Austin, let me know if I'm, yeah, dude, I will, man. I definitely will. I feel like it's nice to like meet people from these different areas through vlogging because I'm like already trying to go to like Vancouver, go to Chris's freaking coffee shop, go out to New Mexico. There's a couple people out there. So definitely we'll hit you up. So then DJI Nano, boom. All right. This is so nerdy, but I love it. I'm like a huge stationary freak. All right. Keep this right here. Dude, what's funny is that so because I went back to school for my master's, I was able to get my master's in strategic brand communication. And because I got my master's and I was working at a college in admissions at the time, I was able to teach a class. So I was actually an adjunct professor for a little bit. All right. So I've been playing around in Davinci lately. I'm going to share my screen real quick if I can. Show you guys kind of a project I was working on. Let's see here. Open this one. Yo, what's up, Matt Pate? I just built this little whiteboard right here. I'll be doing all my DJI Nano lessons from here now. Let me get this in frame. All right, I'm just pulling up. Have you guys jumped into Davinci yet at all? Have you let me turn off this music real quick. Have you guys jumped into Davinci? Anybody play around? I started in Premiere because that's how I learned. I learned by like watching when I made that short film back in like 2016. I used to watch FCP. What's FCP? I got a few new accessories for the Nano sent out. I'm gonna test. I have Davinci, but so I have Final Cut too. I just never opened it and tried it because I was so scared. And I knew like with Davinci, I wanted to get on there and like learn that just because of the color itself. And I feel really good about it. Getting into Davinci, I feel like now I've got a workflow, because the one thing I was scared was like the whole workflow with it. So I'll share my screen in a second here. And I'll show you kind of the video I'm working on with the gym owner, because I'm trying to chop everything up. Let's see, magnetic. So, Final Cut Pro. Yeah, Final Cut Pro. Okay. FCP, Final, that makes sense. So like, I do want to learn Final Cut Pro just to have that, like, knowledge. But I'm in Davinci, so I'm like, does it even make sense to jump into Final Cut Pro? Because I feel like Davinci is always like the one people are scared to get into, and then they do. What's up, Alan? Final Cut Pro. Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna see if I can share my screen. Where is the screen share? Oh, here we go. Share screen. Let me allow window. Okay. Can you guys see? Let me know if you can see that. I'll talk about it once you can see it. I don't know if the sound will work. I like Davinci has transcript and captions with. So the paid version for Davinci does, unless you know where to find it on the free version. I'm on the free version right now. I think I'm going to upgrade to the paid version. I tried yesterday and it was all jacked up. But yeah, I've been playing around. So what I love about this here is that, okay, so here, let me just start with this. So all the clips, and I'll bypass the color. So that's what it looks like with the flat profile. So I shot an S-Log3 yesterday. This is the one of the gym owners, and he owns the box gym. So if you've seen in my videos where it had that like neon sign, meet me at the box, or any of like the videos in kind of that little weightlifting room. Ooh, what's that new? So that new update, is it for both versions or for the free or for the paid version? Because I think I'm definitely gonna like get the studio version for sure. I'm ready to do that. I mean, I have Premiere, I have Final Cut, but I'm loving Davinci just because of the color. So this is the flat profile. These are all the clips. So I got like a ton of stuff yesterday, and I'm just dragging it in one by one because I'm chopping it up. And then I have Action 6 footage as well that I'm going to use and bring in for the audio. So right now this audio is off of the Sennheiser mic that I was using. Let me grab it. So I believe this is the Sennheiser. So I've got the little Condor Blue little shock absorber mount here that I put on my camera, but this is the Sennheiser MKE 600. So I use this just for like on camera stuff. It's great if you're talking like right into it from this end, but I also use the Mic 3 that I had on him. You can kind of see it on his coat right around here. So you see that a little bit. So this is S-Log 3. I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of what I've been doing because I haven't gotten far. It was a later night last night, so I came in. So basically, it's kind of annoying. FC, yeah, I've seen like it kind of like stacks on the side for Final Cut Pro, like some videos, but never dove into it. They always announce before NAB. I think the live stream for it is April 14th. Okay, man, I want to go to NAB so bad too. But I'm actually going to be out of town, I think, next weekend. I'm trying to go to see the Boston Marathon. So let's see. Okay, so this is where I drag the clips in, and then you can like edit from here, which I love editing from here because all you do is like chop it, and then it drags. So like if I wanted to cut here, delete this, it slides it over automatically. And then I'll just Command Z that. So it goes back. But I was chopping up some of this stuff, and then you can get in here. It gets a little bit more granular in here. So this is where you can actually like make it bigger. Let's see. You can make it bigger here and then really get into it. So I always look like this. I edit based off of like audio sometimes too. So like I look for kind of like the big moments that somebody's saying something or starting to say something. One little tip that I do too, I didn't do it too much last night, but I like to do it, is I just like to do a slate. I have like an actual slate, but I like to do like a 3, 2, 1 clap. So that way I know where everything is at. And then I'll kind of, line things up. It really helps when you're using audio from another camera to line things up that way. So that's my little trick. If you guys have another little trick with that, let me know. But that's pretty much how I like when I put the Action 6 clips in, I'll line it up to the sound there until I like learn how to make audio good in here. Cause I feel like this tab right here is probably the one that is going to take me a lot more time to understand like how to do all of the audio. So this right here is kind of a little bit more granular editing. So you could do like your J cuts, L cuts in here. You can do a bunch of other things. I've just got the inspector mode here, which is basically you can like zoom in and out like that. So I'm just going to Command Z back. I've got the free version, like I said. So like if I wanted to, there was a spot here, I think, where you can do some kind of like AI super scale. But if I try to do that, you see how it gives me the little watermark for Davinci Resolve Studio. So I won't be able to do that AI super scale, which sucks because it's like you get a lot of stuff you can do in here, but you can't really dig into it too much. I need to learn more about color grading. I have an FX30 and have been Slack. Oh man, definitely like get onto Davinci or like color grading anywhere and use that, man. FX30s are good. Like I said, I have the Sony A7S III, which I still love. I feel like it's aging like fine wine. I haven't used it much since I got it. So I'm busting it out even more. I used it a lot more for photo than I have for video. All right, so let's get to the good stuff. This right here is Fusion. Don't know much about this tab and like what goes on in here yet, but this is the fun one. This is the part that I feel like everybody gets a little bit nervous about in creating nodes here. So like I said, I've got the color bypass on. Let me see if it shows up here. Let me go back to, okay, so if I bring FX there, let me go back into here and bring my color back. Okay, so I've got my color back now, and we'll go back into this color tab here. Okay, cool. So this is, and then again, I could show you, right? So look, this is simply right now, this is just a simple, I say simple, but that's because I've like learned how to do the end nodes, right? So this is very simply just converting it to Rec 709. But the process, and I'm probably doing it a longer way, but this is actually the way that a lot of people have taught it, is that you go on your first node here. So like if you look here and here, so this one right here, this has what's called a color space transformation. So if I open this up, basically what you're doing for this first node, and I should label it, uh, node label, we'll do CST, and then the end one here, we'll label that as Rec 709 because that's where we're basically converting it to. Okay, so for this first one, so like when I click down here, it turns, you can turns off. So I'm just like learning all the ins and outs of it. LUTs are a really easy way to get started with, then you can experiment. Yeah, so LUTs are how I started on Premiere Pro, but what I started noticing is that a lot of my footage started kind of looking a little bit muddy. And that's because there's this thing here called like the gain output. I haven't played around too much in Premiere. I just kind of like learned and just went with what I knew. But yeah, dude, the gym lighting is so amazing. We played around with some different shots with that too. But like you can turn this gain key thing here, and whenever you put a LUT on, so I'll show you in a second actually. So let me make sure everything is on. So like you see how that, let's just turn that off. You see how now it's like, it's literally flat profile. So if I do this color space transformation here, I turn this on, and then it kind of makes it like this, like deeper, log. It starts to bring a little bit of color to it in some way. So like go back here, it's very flat here. It's starting to look like something. It's not quite anything, but it's starting to look like something. And then what you do here is you have these inputs. So you have to like know what inputs you're putting in. So the color space is Davinci wide gamut. Then you have Davinci wide intermediate. This is just me following steps from a bunch of videos I watched, but they're all saying the same thing. Because you have to put in this effect called color space transformation, which you bring from the effect settings. So if you go to like library, you can go to color space transformation right here. And then you just click it and drag it on to this first part. And then once you do that, you're in the settings, and then you have to start getting it to Rec 709. So that's the first node. The second node here is basically just kind of doing the opposite. So in here, actually in here was S gamut simi because I shot an S log, right? So that's the color space was S gamut 3.cine. Yeah, Planet Fitness. Is it still super purple there, or did they kind of like lay off the purple a little bit? And then the input gamma is S log 3. Then you get into Davinci wide gamut, and then Davinci wide intermediate. And then here you're kind of doing the opposite and then bringing it to Rec 709 at the end, right? So like you're putting in the 2 that you had over here, go in first over here, and then it's Rec 709 and then gamma 2.4. There's different preferences for different people and stuff like that. Still purple as fuck. That's hilarious. I definitely did a stint at Planet Fitness too. And then, so now I've got Rec 709. Okay. So if I wanted to go a step further, I would hit Option S, and that would give me a series. So like when you do a node, if I like right click, you can add a node, and then it says add a serial one. But if I just hit Option S, it'll add that. And then this one I can label as LUT, because this will be your creative look. Remember when people say like you put in your Rec 709 and then you have your LUT, which is like your creative look. I'm just going to show you what that could look like. And that's without doing exposure, which I would do in node 2, contrast in node 3, or anything else. But yeah, so this gym is it's fancy, it's nice, but it's not like super expensive. It's not like something you'd go to like downtown Chicago, go to like Equinox, which is like not even that great, honestly. I love like the private boutique ones are quiet. This one's part of our CrossFit gym, so it just works out better. But so we've got it converted to Rec 709 here. Honestly, I love how it looks already. I probably wouldn't even really change this, but if I wanted to, I can go here, label this as LUT. So that'll just be like my creative look, and this will only hold the LUT. And if I go in LUTs, I can go into the LUTs I already have. So like one that I use in my Premiere Pro a lot is from the company Gamut.io. And then that one is this like Gamut Boost. So watch how this changes a little bit. Just very subtle. You see that? So now look at, boom, he's a little lighter, but this Gamut Boost actually brings down the highlights on the skin a little bit, which I really like. And it makes it a little bit more like cinematic almost and moody. So his skin tone gets a little bit better here. Now, whenever you're adding a LUT in DaVinci Resolve, what I realize is like, and I talk about this in some videos, recent nano videos that I haven't uploaded yet, but whenever you put a LUT on, I almost describe it as like you're putting on like this like lipstick or this like, you know, mask or whatever it is, and it's like heavy or it's muddy. And if you want to bring it down in like Premiere, it's like it doesn't give you that good of an option. Just like on the nano film tones, like the nano film tones, you can't really play around with the percentage. You can't at all actually play around with the percentages of the film tones. So you're kind of stuck with it, but they look good anyway. But like the Action 6 has the film tones, and you can play around with the percentages from like 30, 70, 30, 50, 70, 100. And that to me is kind of the same thing that this is, which is the key output. So to give you a good example, I'll see how this looks. So like you won't be able to see it because this Gamut Boost is so subtle. So let me try a different LUT where like you'll really see the difference. Let's go to, let's just do like black and white. So see black and white here. So now this is black and white in Rec 709.
Like this, or this, or this.
That honestly doesn't, to me, that doesn't look bad either if that's the style that he wants to go for, or I would want to go for any video. But if that's too heavy, right? Let's say this black and white is a little too heavy. Then I go to this right here, this key output for the gain, and I just drag that down. And you see now like the color's coming back. Maybe I wanted to go with this like little sepia, like, unsaturated look. And then if I bring it all the way down to 0, boom, it's just back to normal, right? But if I bring it back up to like 1,000 or maybe like around, let's say like 79, that's kind of, it's an interesting look. It's not what we're going for though. So I'm going to get rid of this LUT here. Let's try another one. See, I got my DJI ones. I don't know if you can, it's not letting you see it, but I've got my DJI ones here. So I'm going to put in this like earthy monochrome one. And let's see here. So if I take off that earthy look and I put this on, it's very subtle. You see that? See how the light in the back changes? So what this is telling me, honestly, though, is that because these are changing so subtly, it tells me that I exposed pretty correctly in camera, which is a good thing. Because sometimes when you don't expose correctly and you put a LUT on, it just looks like shit, or the LUT just looks like shit. But this is telling me that I exposed pretty close to like what I should have. So like you could see the histogram at the bottom here, all this stuff down here. Like the only thing I would probably bring up is maybe the shadows just a little bit, but I like the moody look. So now like this one, you wouldn't even be able to see it again. Like if I did it, I'm trying to find like a really good example of one that just looks crazy. That's not black and white. So I might have one. Let's go to LUT. Yeah, let's go here. So there's this one that I got from this like creator that I followed a long time ago. We'll go to Green Hell. See that? So that actually, again, like it doesn't look bad, but on my screen, it's very like it almost looks muddy. It's very heavy. So like if we were to bring this down, we go to this output, key output gain, and we start bringing it down, and we're just dragging. You see it dragging a little. So like if I go back, you see how dark it gets. I could go darker, or I just bring it down and you see the histogram changing. And you can see this little like square over here, how the opacity. So it's all kind of the opacity of it. And you just kind of go to where you want. And then this will look different when you start playing around with like exposure and stuff like that. So I'm going to reset this node because I don't know if I'm going to add a LUT onto it. What do I expose to? Ask me that. What do you you want to know, like my actual settings or what specifically? I can definitely let you know. I just want to make sure I'm answering that right for you, Matt. So I'm going to reset this and then I'll leave that kind of blank because I might throw a LUT on there, but it'll be very subtle. Let's see. And then I've got also like white balance and stuff like that you could do. So, which is really cool. So let's say if I wanted to go in here and I put exposure, label this exposure. And this is what I'm still learning a little bit of. So when you expose here, you're going to go to your HDR color wheel, or you're going to go here, I'm sorry, to the primaries. When you go to the primaries, this is your lift is your shadows, and then your gain is the highlights, is what they say. They're not like, it gets very confusing with these like dials, but you'll see why. But the primaries is what you want to work in. And the offset here is actually like what changes everything. So like if I bring the offset all the way up, see that? I don't really want to do that because it changes like universally the whole thing. So like with here, if I go to lift, and this is really cool too, I'll show you, like color boost, you just got to know where you put these nodes because it'll affect everything when you get up to that LUT. So I could actually put the LUT in and then work my way backward, which is interesting. So color boost, you see how it's changing that red and it's making him more orange. Oh, so, okay. So I didn't shoot this footage I shot some of the footage in the Action 6 yesterday, and I exposed it because there was so much light. It just depended, right? So like this was red light. So it was, even though it's bright, it's a little darker, I would say, than just using regular white light, which we had some shots with. I exposed to about, for these inside shots, I still stayed in the negative. So I was probably between both of those, right? I didn't expose over one at all in this. With the A7S III, I pretty much just kind of did like the multimetering. I set my temperature. So I have this app on my phone called Kev White Balance. So Kelvin, but it's KEVWB. I'm going to show you right here if you can see that. So Kev White Balance app. If it's a free app, you should download it. I'm going to open it up. See how it's letting you know what white balance I'm on. So it's saying that it's 5288 in here. So I will set my camera, any camera I have, if I want to shoot manual. Usually I leave auto white balance on the action cameras, but if I'm shooting in the Sony A7S III, I'm using that app and I am doing the exact white balance, even though I might change it a little bit in post. Because what you can do too is like, you could go to this little eyedropper tool here and you would click that. And then they tell you that you should go and click on like the most like white thing, the most like like fair part of this. So like this little logo he has is white, this Fabletics logo. So I'm going to click on that and you'll see maybe how it changes the temperature, if anything. So let me Command Z that. So I'll show you again. I'm clicking on this white F here and literally, let me actually make this bigger. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Primary. Okay. So I'm clicking on this white F and it literally like made the temperature, but it didn't change it much. So that just tells me that I exposed pretty good with the temperature. It was already close, which is amazing. Like your white balance and your ISO and all that should be the things you focus on. So with the action camera, the Action 6, I usually leave at negative 0.7. Last night I was probably between both, depending on like where I was with shadows and things like that. The Nano, now the Nano is very different for me, especially I know people still like to leave it around negative maybe 7. I actually push the Nano sometimes to like negative 1.3. So I'll live between like negative 1 and 1.3. Sometimes if it's super bright, negative 1.7, like if I was on a beach or something like that, and I didn't have an ND filter. So that the Nano you really gotta figure out and play with a little bit more. But I love the Nano. I mean, like this is my favorite camera. And I got this cool little like 3D printed side grip that I got from this creator that I follow. I think his name is Luke Edwin. So I picked that up and it literally just connects with like a quarter thread screw, and then you can put it into a mount, the magnetic mount, and then pull it right off. So I just keep that on there like that. And then I've got my half cage, which I 100% recommend the half cage because it protects your monitor and it's easy to take off and put back on. And then this too. And I always just make sure I click like the tops because sometimes you just never know, man. I don't want to be like walking over a bridge in Chicago and like it's not connected all the way. So I always make sure with these magnetic mounts. But that's it. And then so like let's say with this white balance thing, let's do this again. So let's say I want to click on his skin or something. See how that changes and it made it cooler? It actually made like clicking on his skin made the white balance cooler. And I don't really like that for this shot. So now if I were to take the white balance and click on the white logo, take care, Ben. Thanks for stopping by, bro. I appreciate you staying as long as you did, man. Thank you. Have a good rest of the weekend, bro. So I'm clicking on that white there, and then I can actually like make it warmer if I want to. I'll bring it down. That can make it cooler. So I think where they had it, using this eyedropper tool, it really, like even if I put it on gray, like gray takes me back to like negative 2.5, but I'm going to click on the white because you always want to go for, and it's about 29, 31. But yeah, so that is the white balance. So with his skin here, those are things that I'll probably, some point. So I'm going to reset this node because I'm not going to, play around with or too much outside of this. I might add just like a little LUT and go from there. So like, let's say if I were to go here,
Gain muscle.
And I actually, so also I shot her horizontal. So I'll show you here. I'm at position 168. Just want to remember that. I shot horizontally and I never used to do this. And if I shot too close to the subject, I would not have enough video to like recover. Let me go back to 168 here. Right there. So I would not have enough video to recover. And that's another trick that I use is like shoot horizontally so that way you can be able to have more to play with. So I actually shot in a 4:3 aspect marker, but you could see here like the whole gym. So if I were to make this 16:9, then I'd have all that room to play with. But since this is going to live on Instagram, I'll export it there. So that's why I'm editing this way. But in camera, I shot 4:3. Usually for photos, I would say, let me just make sure this is matched up for some reason. Okay. 3170, 3170. Okay. So I shoot 4:3, Matthew, in like on my Nano, I'll shoot in 4:3. I love the square. I think it's like as close as you can get to open gate if you don't have it on cameras. On the Sony a7S III, I shot this in 4:3. So I didn't shoot like traditional 16:9. I shot horizontal, but I shot in 4:3 aspect marker. So just like a true square. And it gives you more range and ability. But the thing when you do that, when you do talking head videos like this, and I learned this just kind of like by trial and error, and I think anybody else would agree, is like I was shooting probably at about 35 millimeters. So I was shooting on a 24-70 lens, and I was shooting at probably the 35 millimeter mark at this point, right? And so let's let me do this. Shoot, hold on. Okay, because it was doing that one. Let me do this and I'll continue my thought there. I want to just make it position here. So even though this looks like traditional 16:9, it's 4:3, right? It's a square. And on the Sony a7S III, like I'm able to see the grid. It gives me the grid of how the square shoots. So that's really cool. And then here you just get more. And what I've learned is that if I'm shooting at a 35 right now, right? 35 right here. Let's go full screen. Would it let me go full screen? It'll let me go full screen right here. Okay. Why can't you see it?
Self-confidence back. If you're located in
okay, that sucks. Never mind. It won't let you see that. But okay. So basically, like if I'm shooting 4:3 in 35, millimeter, I have to stand further back, even though I'm doing the 35 millimeter. And I say that standing back because you want to get as much of the person in frame that when you do crop in, you still have enough to play with. So like I could have probably stood even further back here because now like I'm looking at it, which is fine because he is the focal point of what this video is going to be. And I have it set here because I want some of this light on the right here. I want like this piece of equipment hanging to have some depth. And then this is a little blurry because I shot in like 2.8 to 3.2 for the f-stop. And he's the focal point. So you want to shoot from further back, even if you're shooting horizontal, because that'll give you more room to play with. I would have loved to maybe have more of his shoulders and his elbows not cut off, but that's okay because he's moving around. It's going to be a quick video.
If you're located in the south suburbs of Chicago and you're ready to transform your body, then go ahead and click that link below to get started. We'll see you soon. All right, guys.
So we did different takes.
How would you like to completely transform your body just like this, or this, or this, or this, or this?
So this is where I'll add like different like photos and stuff. But I'm so happy of like how this like footage turned out. So that's kind of my whole point of it is like, play around with the cameras you have. Because I literally had to watch a whole bunch of videos just to get my Sony back. I had to update it to the newest version, both of them, my Sony a7 IV and the a7S III. So, and watch some videos to make sure I was like doing everything right again. So the more you use it, the easier it becomes. And then it's like muscle memory when I was like exposing it, because I've learned so much how to expose on the action cameras. It actually made me a better exposer on my full frame cameras. So that's another thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Does the color apply to the adjustment layer or to the clips? So it applies to the adjustment layer in the sense of this. Let me show you an example. I'll add a new clip. Okay. Let's go here. So this clip, we're still in the red. I think that was clip 5. Let me just add this one. Okay, so this one you can see is still, let me go here. Can you do a video in the future on the expo? Yeah, I can do one. I'm still learning, so if I make a video, you'll be learning from somebody who's still learning. But I could definitely make a video on like how I do it, because I'm actually like really happy with like how it came out. Like I'll be honest, like I think that's one of the things I'm always nervous about is like, is this video going to be exposed correctly if I choose to shoot in log? And I'm really happy with coming in here. And I know like Davinci is a great, system with like editing, because you can see the difference there, like shooting in log. Like, look at that. Like that to me looks really good. And that's just Rec 709. Like, so when you expose correctly, your Rec 709 should still look really good. So let me show you this. So every clip, right? Every clip is its own like color thing, right? So that means that if I were to go all the way back to clip 1 and I just did these nodes here, right? And then I went to clip 2 and I had like some different nodes. So you could see like clip 1, right? I don't even have the LUT thing. So I could go here, copy. So I'll Command C this second, clip. I'm going to come back here. So see how it's got CST, EXP, blank, Rec 709, LUT. I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to Command V and it'll change it. So that's one part of it, right? So like I could do, if it's the same person and the same lighting and all that talking, and all I did was just Rec 709. I haven't made any other changes, okay? Because depending on where you are in the gym or where you are on location, your little tweaks will change. But I'm going to show you how that's essentially done. So for the most part, I'm just turning everything into Rec 709. So now, because these two clips have those two things, I have to do the same thing for all of them. So I'm going to Command V here. I'm going to Command V here, 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 boom. Everything is changing now to match up with Rec 709, and that's okay because I'm exposed in both parts of the location. So remember, this location right here where he's at with this little piece of equipment is like maybe 10 feet to the left of where I have him right here in these clips. So he's actually on the other side of the gym, but it's still like on the bottom floor. So I just angled it so you could still see the meet me at the box neon sign in the back. But he's in a different location because over here he's more light and the shadows are coming from his right side. Over here, the shadows are on his left side of his face a little bit. You see right here. So I'm still only exposing for Rec 709. So now that I need to add these. So Command V. So I'm adding the node trees to all of these, okay? That's the first part. Now, this one is S-Log. Easy though, Command V. Now this one is graded to Rec 709. Beautiful, easy. And you could do all this before you start chopping up everything, but I like to chop up what I only need and then color that. Now, to answer your question about the adjustment layers is if I go on here, and because I said now his shadows are over here on this side, let's say I go to primaries, let's say I go to exposure. I'm on my exposure node. So right here, you see when it's highlighted red, I'm on the first node. Now I'm just going to exposure, and I'm only going to mess with exposure now. Okay, so here I'm going to go to lift. Lift is where my shadows are. I'm going to bring that down. You might see the right side of his face change a little bit. I'm going to bring shadows down, and all his black clothing is going to go down. See that? So now he's dark. If you like that really moody look, that's what we can go for here. I also shot in 30 frames per second because this is going to live on Instagram. So that's another thing. So you just got to know where this is going to live. That's I'm going to do a proper video, man, because these are all the little things that I learned that are important, but you got to know where you're going to post this video. And if it's going to be on Instagram, I recommend shooting 30 frames per second. You can do 24, looks good, cinematic and all that. But if this is going to be just like a promotion on Instagram, you're going to want to do that. So now I'm bringing these shadows down, right? So I'm very subtly bringing it down. Let's say I stop right here, looks kind of good for me. If I want to bring the highlights down, I'm going to go to the gain wheel, and I'm going to bring the highlights down. You see how now the highlights are coming down? That's, to me, that's looking a little dark. So I don't really need the shadows all the way down. So I'll probably bring it to like -1. Honestly, I probably won't even touch a lot of this, to be honest with you. Because I feel like it's exposed really nice already, but just for purposes of this. So now let's say I'm here. This is that node, okay? That doesn't mean that if I come here, I'm going to have the same exact node. Let's say this is a different scene. I can make the exposure different here. So the color will only apply to the node. If you think about it as far as adjustment layers, it'll only apply. And if a node is an adjustment layer, it'll only apply to that one. So just because I make a change here doesn't mean it's going to show up here. So you can't even really tell because I did it so subtly, but I did it. And like, I would have to come here. I would have to Command C here, and then Control V, and you'll see it change a little bit. Boom. Very subtle. Again, like exposed pretty good out of camera. I don't really need to change much with this. Maybe just add a nice little LUT, make the opacity super light, and I'm good to go. So I'm going to Command Z that, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to just reset this node because I don't think I really need to do too much to it. I might just play around a little bit with the exposure, maybe a little contrast, add a little bit of shadow, and I'm good, man. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the color for this one because it already has the lights doing a lot of the work. I think the other thing too is set design. If you can control that, like for this, if I were to speak in terms of set design, you know, this gym already has neon lights. It has different colors. You know, he's wearing black. Like, I don't need to do more than that. Like, the set is already designed in a way that's going to give the color or give the video character. And then when I go and color it, as long as I expose correctly, it's just going to look good out of camera. So that's it. That is how you play around with nodes a little bit. And trust me, like, it feels intimidating, but honestly, when you get to it, it's actually not bad. I think the only thing is there's so much in here. It's very in depth. So there's going to be a lot of things that you can play around with in here. But again, it all comes down to your style, what you like, what you don't like. And you just play around with different things. So I have not done a lot. You could add like, let me see. Will this let me add halation? Let me add that to this. See, I can't do that because I'm not in Studio, but I think I'm going to buy the Studio. So I could add like halation, I could add blur, all that stuff. But that's it. That is it. Let's see. Cool. That's it. I'm gonna stop sharing. Let me know if you guys like this. Thanks for sticking on, and I appreciate you. This is fun. Like, I never did a live like this before, but I really enjoyed it. So take care. I'll see you guys. Stay human.